And a pleasant Sunday to you. Happy Mother's Day to all that it applies. Welcome to Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie. Another beautiful spring day. Winds more or less out of the north, meaning it's nice and refreshing. The wind is up a little bit. I probably didn't use enough spray on my hair before coming down. But with Rick Lee, I'm Jim Byers. Thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. We've got 9 races for you on a fast main track and a firm turf course. We'll get going in an hour and 5 minutes with the first race, but we are here to analyze today's races, hopefully steer you in the right direction. Rick certainly did in the last race last night with his designated long shot for Terry Oaf. I don't remember the horse's name now in a pinch.
He's a striker.
Yes. Good soccer term as well. Coming up out of the pack, splitting horses and winning last night in the last race and paying a nice, I think, 9-2 price. On we go to today. We will gloss over some of my picks of yesterday because I'm feeling good about today. Opening race, 5.5 furlongs, Texas bred $5,000 condition claimers, scratch the 2, Reckless Red. That leaves a field of 6. It's a pretty wide open race, which means a lot of horses can win. You've got some coming in off races where they were well beaten, but not exclusively. And we end up on the same horse here in the first race.
Yeah, the 7, My Little Prince, J.R. Caldwell, owns and trains this one. Has rarely been in a Texas-bred race. He's been running an open company almost exclusively in his career, and he's been running very well. His last 3 starts, 1 at Lone Star, 2 at Houston, were in open company and finished second in all 3 of those races. His only opportunity to run against state breds was March 30th, but that was an allowance field, so you can give him a bit of an excuse in that one. He's won 2 starts here. He has the benefit of a recent race over the track. The winner of that race kind of beat everyone to the front and held on and drew off a little bit, but he was a clear second. You know, you could make a case dropping into this state-bred race. He should improve, and he may not have to improve much to win.
The one thing I like about My Little Prince, he's one of the few in here that, even though these are veterans and a lot of these guys have won a bunch of races, he can actually pass somebody. And there's, for example, he's a cool cat who's going to take a ton of money. Blinkers on for Abel Ramirez Rodriguez and the hot riding Ramon Vasquez. He drops to his lowest level, but I defy you to find a race where he passed anybody. When he wins, he goes to the front. If he ends up behind, he just runs around there. Now, I say that, and I might be putting him in the winner's circle, but he's going to take a ton of money. Blinkers on is not a high percentage or a percentage move at all for that barn, even though that barn is doing very well. I don't care for him much at all in this race because I think he's going to suck a lot of money. The one horse I'm curious about, it's a little sad to see Algebra in for $5,000. I hope, he's able to recover here and run better. I think he's going to be kind of back in business at this level. Oaklawn was just too much for this old guy. But he has run so well over the years and has run so well here at this track. I mean, his record on this surface is impeccable. I used him third because you never know. Maybe getting back here to familiar surroundings and making a huge drop from his Oaklawn races will help. But, kind of a little bittersweet see a horse in for a nickel.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 6-time winner here. I feel like I picked him all 6 times.
Me too.
I used to pick him a lot. And he could win this race because he's taken a significant drop in class. And if he just didn't care for the surface at Oaklawn, I mean, you can certainly make a case for Algebra.
The one thing about Algebra, he may not be what he used to be, but in Hot Springs he was popular at the claiming box.
Yes.
So horsemen liked him. I mean, Abel Ramirez Rodriguez took him a couple of times. Gene Jacot had him, so, I mean, people wanted him still.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him get claimed out of this race. Maybe. I mean, who knows? Race 2. Almost everybody in this heat is coming off what I would consider a subpar race. Now, this is a non-winners of 2 claimer for $20,000, and just because they're coming off subpar races, those could be at much tougher levels of competition. They could be at better tracks, or not better tracks, but tracks where the racing is, they're going for more money, so the racing is a little stronger. Number 5, Grand Sam, is out of this one. That leaves a field of 7 to go, 6.5 furlongs.
Yeah, this is a competitive race. I like Drinks at the club. Give him a slight edge. First of all, first start for Abel Ramirez Rodriguez. He does a phenomenal job off the claim, and just a great job anyway. Last time out, a trainer, Calvario, tried turf on this horse, and I'm not sure why you'd ever run him on turf. He's got a proven record of just poor races. Every race in his PPs, he's finished at badly beaten 7th, so you can easily draw a line through that race. You look at his previous races in California, those races definitely put him right there. And Abel has a way of improving horses, so if this horse moves up with the switch back to the main track, sprinting again, I could see him really flying late in this race because he's not going to be up on the lead. He's going to have to finish, but at 6 1/2 furlongs, it's not a bad thing to have a horse who can rate and finish.
For sure, and he's coming off a turf race. As you mentioned, his turf record is quite bad, actually, compared to his dirt record, and he's turning back to a longer sprint distance. The thing about him, and I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, I like to look at non-winners of 2, especially lightly raced ones. I like to look at their maiden wins and just kind of compare. Where did this horse break his maiden, etc.? This horse broke his maiden at Fresno, earned a 15 Beyer, 1-5. How is that possible?
Yeah, I didn't look at that.
I don't get that.
Yeah, that's really odd.
He was favored in the race. It wasn't a bottom level. It was a $25,000 maiden race. I got to think they run cheaper maidens at Fresno than that.
Yeah.
Not that has anything to do with today's race, but there are some horses in here that broke their maidens and earned better numbers. Priority Lane, and I didn't pick him because of this, but his Beyer victory acquired or achieved in December at Remington was a 75. Mm-hmm. Now, again, who knows?
Yeah, he put it all together that day.
Right, and he's never really matched that, except he did run one nice turf race way back at Gulfstream when he was with K.O. Karamori. But I'm going with Priority Lane. He's got a little bit of speed in here, and I don't think there's a lot of speed in this for a sprint race. Cabrera and Davis, they've been working well together. He definitely needs to flash back to something akin to that maiden performance, which does appear to be out of character. Mm-hmm. But he's comfortable with the level. In a race without a whole lot of speed, I mean, Last Attack, I guess, likes to be forwardly placed, at least in routes, but he's not fast necessarily. I don't know. I don't know who's going to make the lead in here, and I think Cabrera might have Priority Lane in a good spot. So I'm going to try him.
Yeah, and Last Attack wintered in Fairgrounds. We always talk about this. If you wintered at Oaklawn or Fairgrounds, you have a class advantage over those that were, at Houston or just freshened up after Remington. Yeah. Fairgrounds and Oaklawn has just dynamite racing.
And, Last Attack ran well routing at the Fairgrounds.
Right.
I think you can toss that last race. Because he went to the shelf after that, and it was a 2-turn race on turf. But
yeah, and the works look good since then for Gellner.
Yeah.
So he's picked it back up, getting here to Lone Star.
On we go to race, and I would be remiss if I didn't say you might look out for the 1, Copper Storm, only because Asmussen had one of his Asmussen days yesterday where he was live and winning with just about everything. He won 3 races. Copper Storm comes out of an Oaklawn campaign where, he was well beaten last time, but the rest of his numbers are pretty good. And, he's another one that just kind of runs around there. I mean, he hasn't shown a lot of speed since last fall, but, he's also been running against pretty nice, competitive fields in Hot Springs.
I know, and you got Asmussen at $24 winner or something, roughly $24.
Yeah, by DQ,
with
but still.
Roustabout. Yeah, you don't get many Asmussen winners to pay much of anything usually.
That is true, and Roustabout got in off the also eligible list, so he kind of came in the side door, and then the winner got DQ'd, and you wound up with a big price on an Asmussen.
Yep.
On we go to race 3. Older horses drew into this one. Interesting claiming tag. It's an optional claimer. You could be non-winners of a race this year, or 42.5 is an interesting claiming level. Mile and a 16th on turf, scratch the 9, ethical judgment.
Yeah, the racing office getting a little too creative perhaps. I have no clue, when you do buyer figures, you're like, do you put this field with 50,000 claimers or with the 40s? Because it's 42.50. So anyway,
might have Andy call Bart.
Yeah. Nobody deals.
Something about that.
Nobody cares but me about this. But anyway, I went with Spoiler. I think you can tell by the morning line. I think this race is a tremendously open and competitive race. Spoiler, you can give him excuses for not winning recently. He's been in Hot Springs, obviously running on the main track there, well, the only track they have up there, and running against nice horses. If you isolate his turf races, especially the ones last year here, really good races, won back-to-back turf starts. They thought enough of him to run in the Remington Green, a really tremendous turf race up there in Oklahoma City. Finished third. I went back and refreshed my memory on that race, and everybody that finished around him was coming from way out of it. So even though he was kind of in a nice spot, only 3 lengths back, that may have been too close in that particular race. But nevertheless, that was a terrific race. Since the Remington Green, he hasn't been on grass since. So it'll be interesting to see, how he does. Good record here. He's won 3 or 4 races at this precise turf route distance. Louis Q, I think you and I both like Louis Q. He's been around a long time.
Tremendous rider. He's in his mid-50s now.
Yes.
But has won thousands. I think he surpassed 5,000 at Oaklawn, I think.
Yes.
5,000 wins. Yeah.
Yeah, and as a quick little side note, my best friend lives in Hot Springs Village, and he said he golfed with Louis Q at the very end. He never had met Louis Quinones, but he said he ended up golfing with him on the closing week of the Oaklawn meet.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, he asked me if I'd heard of him. He did. He actually did. He said, "You ever heard of Louis Quinones?" I said, "Dude, I'm in the racing business."
Well, this horse also likes this course. He's 2 for 4 on this course. He did win a race, a couple of races, or one race here last summer. Actually won 2. He was with Asmussen then. So, I'm on him as well. Do you have more to add here for race 3? I didn't mean to step in and interrupt you.
No, I have nothing else to say. No, the only slight concern I have, and that's why I didn't make him shorter, is his dirt races last year were really good too. It looks like his dirt races in Hot Springs aren't quite as good. Is he getting a little bit long in the tooth? Maybe, that's the only reason I don't love him. I like him, but I don't love him because I'm a little bit concerned that he was tailing off there at Oaklawn, and he's a horse that usually runs pretty well on the main track.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Illustrator is another one that we both have second. He got way back out of it last time, but he picks up Ramon Vasquez today, and, maybe he won't be quite so far back. That Creative Minister race, they were all coming from behind in that one, too. Creative Minister slipped up the rail and won that, but that was a good turf race. And, some of his other races are pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised to see him run well. Kennel Club for Sean Davis off the bench. Clearly he wanted no part of that sloppy off-the-turf race at Fairgrounds last December. But his body of work prior to that was pretty darn good on the grass.
Yeah, he's won 3 out of 4 on the grass. And I'm glad you mentioned Illustrator. He's been in the exacta 7 of 10 times on turf. These are really horses that love to race, on turf, and I think it's going to be an outstanding race.
Yeah, it's a very good race. And you got Mannerborn, who's won 7 of 30 lifetime and is coming off back-to-back February wins on the grass at Houston. Race 4. These are all 3-year-old Texas breds, maiden special weights, 6.5 panels. Scratch the 3 Roman Eagle and the 6 Wins Image, who oddly enough were my 3rd and 4th picks, which indicates, I think, a race that wasn't real deep to begin with. Cheating Heart was going to be a heavy favorite, and now becomes even less deep, I think.
Yeah, Cheating Heart's my most likely winner. The only thing that make him better is if it was first-time Cappellucci off the claim. That's the only way this could be better.
And I was an idiot for not picking that horse yesterday. He was claimed off of Asmussen, and I thought, well, and I liked somebody else in the race a little bit, so I tried to beat Cappellucci. And, of course, he improved that percentage
Yeah,
off
he did.
the claim
Now he's
last.
50%.
Now he's flat 50 instead of 49
Yeah,
points.
exactly. But Cheating Heart has finished second consecutive races. Both with the addition of blinkers seem to help. His most recent start here at Lone Star, so he does again benefit from a race over this track. He got beat by Don't Back Down 1-2. That's how heavily favored Don't Back Down was. And when he beat Cheating Heart to the front, Cheating Heart battled valiantly with him for quite some time, but Don't Back Down was just too much for Brett Calhoun. 7 lengths back to the third place finisher. He's improving, this 3-year-old, with each and every start. And this is not the strongest by any means maiden special weight T-bred race, so I felt like I had to go that direction. I will say one quick thing. I don't know what you're going to say about Grind Jim, but do remember he scratched last Saturday because the track was sloppy. So obviously they felt like, hey, we have a lot better chance on a fast track, and they're going to get that today.
Yeah. No, I don't have much to say about Grind Jim. I mean, he's turning back. He's adding blinkers. For Castellanos, that's a decent percentage move in a small sample size. His one sprint was decent.
Yeah.
He's the only one I really give a good chance of an upset.
Yeah.
Drama King was just drubbed by Cheating Heart. Mentioned he was 7 lengths best in second. Well, Drama King checked in third. Maybe Drama King will, prefer a dry track today, but yeah, it drops off precipitously after Cheating Heart. And because of that name, I've got the Hank Williams song on my head all day and probably into the evening. Race 5. Starter allowance for $5,000. You had to have started for a claiming tag of $5,000 or less in one of their last 3 starts. So more creativity from the racing office here. 7/8 of a mile, 7 furlongs.
Yeah, filling races. They get creative over there.
Well, that's good.
And that's what you got to do. I mean,
Keeps us jumping.
Yeah, that's why he gets paid top dollar.
That's right.
So, Spite and Malice, I believe is the one to beat. An excellent record here at Lone Star Park. 6 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Last time out, was dropped down to $5,000, which is what made him eligible for this race. And he stalked the pace, drew off to win, rather comfortably. If you look at some of his races, over the winter at Houston and Remington Park, he actually won back-to-back races at a much higher class level than this. So Caldwell got this veteran's confidence up. He's realistically spotted. Starter allowance, that's not going to be more than he can handle because he has the back class. And Caldwell, like always, starts fast, usually finishes pretty fast. He's going to win a lot of races here.
I think this race is somewhat wide open. I mean, I love Spite and Malice. I picked him last time like everybody else did. He was wide, 3 wide early on my notes, 4 to 5 wide upper stretch. He was very game to win that race. It might have been kind of a demanding effort, but he's had, about 3 weeks or so off. I'm going to try for a horse that's kind of a horse for course, and that's the 2 Nautical Moon, because I have a feeling that maybe he can run one of his patented kind of swoop from behind type races with Stuart Elliott. Stuart Elliott picks up the mount today. This horse was claimed away from Cappellucci last time, so we've got the reverse Cappellucci claim here. Brent Davidson, though, in a small sample size, is good off the claim as well. This horse loves this racetrack. He loves to win. He can be close to the pace, or he can sit off of it and go in 7 furlongs. He has a lot of route experience, which I like to see.
Yep.
I'm going to take a chance only because I think Spite and Malice, as good as he is and as sharp as he is, might be a little over bet. If he's 2 to 1, I'm still not sure he has a 2 to 1 chance to win the race. He's a nice horse, at this level, made a lot of money, very admirable, runner. But I'm going to try to beat him. In fact, Pomeroy Hayes is going to be my second pick. Second off a break. He goes from a bug rider at Evangeline, whose career percentage is about 6% wins, nothing against Julio Ramirez Jr., but he picks up Ramon Vasquez, the hottest rider in the colony. He might wake up with a return here to Lone Star, and Pomeroy Hayes likes the track, too.
Yeah.
Spite and Malice likes the track. They all seem to like this racetrack. Perliano, you mentioned him earlier. He's in here.
Yeah, I mean, my 6th and 7th pick are 8 to 1 on the line. I just respected everyone in this race. My longest shot's 12 to 1, isn't it? That's never
It's my
happened.
money too.
I'm going to say that's never happened, where the longest shot on a morning line is 12 to 1.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a good race.
But it's that kind of race.
It's a really good race. And I might point out, Cajun Eddie was entered on Friday and scratched in favor of this spot. He's a long shot. He's 12 to 1 as well. But he's coming off a really nice mile here where he was a clear second behind Catholic Guilt. So even the 12 to 1 shots merit some looks in there.
They do.
I think that's the main reason I picked against Spite and Malice. Not that I don't think he's liable to win the race, but there's so much competitiveness in that field.
Yes, I agree.
I don't know if I would take
agree.
2 to 1 on Spite and Malice in that group, but we'll see. Race 6 is a 5-furlong turf sprint. These are non-winners of 3 lifetime for $25,000. Scratch number 4, Uptown Eagles landed. I'm not 100% sure of the status of the 11 Fastened. They hadn't received a scratch on him when we came down, so he might draw in, but, put that on the back burner.
Yeah, I think Imperial Redbird should be hard to handle in here. Last year in a couple turf sprints and against Allowance Company, he wins an allowance race. It was a Texas bred, but he was very sharp, earned a good number, came back in open Allowance Company and finished second. Was on the bench 10 months when he returned to the races here April 27th and ran a terrific race. They went 21-2, 44-2. He's right there, and he just got a little bit late. There's no doubt the 10-month, layoff. He was just not quite fit enough to withstand that kind of pressure. Should be more fit today. Drops into a condition-claiming race. Stuart Elliott keeps the call. This horse runs really well for Stuart. Both wins he's been aboard, and I just feel like he's going to run his A race today. Is it going to be good enough? Well, we'll see. There's some nice alternatives in here and but I think he's the one to beat.
I agree. I didn't take him, but I totally agree. I think he's definitely the one to beat in here. I'm going to try to beat him with Sponge Bath, who drew the outside last time going 5/8. He was very wide. He did pass a few late. He didn't gain a lot on the winner, but he comes out of that same race with Imperial Redbird, who was up duking it out in that really, really fast pace off the layoff and got tired. Sponge Bath didn't run as good a race as Imperial Redbird, but, he's also third race off a layoff instead of second race. You never know exactly what a horse is going to do. Second race off a long layoff after a demanding race. Plus, he goes to Ramon Vasquez, and even though I don't really care that much anymore for late-running sprinters, unless I really know that they're, reliable, this guy should be finishing well. And if Imperial Redbird gets a little tired again, I'm going to try Sponge Bath and see if maybe I can get a little bit of a price there. Pass line is intriguing to me as well.
Yeah, and Turquoise Blue, it's hard to beat him to the front, and that's the only owner I ever bring up, because Carl Moore seems like he wins all the time.
He won a race again yesterday.
Yeah.
Karen Jacks won 3 yesterday. Only one with Carl, but yeah.
Yeah, that must be part of Carl's negotiating with Calhoun and Karen Jacks, whoever he has training for him, A little cheaper day rate because I'm going to win all the time.
Pass line is intriguing to me as well. Second time ever on turf. I don't see the turf race on my PP, so it was way back early in his career. He's been competing at Oaklawn. I think he could improve in this spot, but it's a reach, but just to kind of maybe light the board. He's another one that could pass some horses. Race 7. Texas bred fillies and mares 3 and up. You want a newer face in this race, or do you want, a more familiar type runner in here? That's kind of the subhead for this. 6 furlongs, Texas bred, non-winners of 2.
Yeah, when I think they all have almost equal chance to win, that's always the race. I try to pick a price. The 7 Yoda winner is that horse. I think I'm going to, take my shot with. This is a non-winners of 2 for $7,500, restricted to Texas bred. So this is close to the bottom. Yoda winner did win, sprinting 5 1/2 in a maiden special weight race in March. So I certainly like that. Ran okay in an allowance race when overmatched on March 30th. Came to Lone Star Park and broke last. He tends to break a little tardy, though, so, it'd be nice if he broke like he did a couple times, but he's also broke poorly a couple times, so you don't know what you're going to get. The bottom line is he was wide, he broke poorly, and still finished third. He gets a little more distance to run with. There's plenty of speed in this race, too. I think this race, there could be a pace meltdown. I think there's a lot of front runners in here. He's going to come from out of it. She's also a 3-year-old who seems to be improving with every race. Claim from Danny Pish to Sarah Davidson. I'm not too concerned about any of that. I just think based on that one start here at Lone Star Park, the extra distance, and with a more alert beginning, 8-1, to me, she's worth a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's coming off a super wide trip, passed a bunch of horses to get third. And the older, more experienced runners, I said, do you want a newer face, meaning like the 3-year-olds like her, Evening Edge, Chica Competitiva, or the number 1 filly, City City Bling Bling, or do you want like Bring on the Bubbly, who's the lukewarm favorite on the line, 1 for 17 with 5 thirds, or Tappett's Got a Pistol, who's 7-2 on the line, 1 for 15. It's not to say they can't win or they've been running pretty well against non-winners of 2 for what they are.
Yeah.
I'm going with the new faces. I'm going to take City City Bling Bling on the inside, adds blinkers for Gustafson. Sheds the blinkers for Gustafson. Didn't run well at all with the blinkers. Did break her maiden here last year, sans blinkers. Needs a reversion back to previous form, but it gets away from the turf, back to the dirt. She is one of those that might be up in it early on, but makes a big class drop. So I'm going to try her on the class drop, blinkers off. Chica Competitiva comes off a nice race against Bottom Maidens last time, and I think she could run well repeating. But
yeah, Asmussen horse has the best numbers in the race. You want to go all the way back, over the winter. Tried a turf sprint, ran poorly, tried a route against stakes horses. So the last 2 races are excusable, and the 2 Altazano was open stake company on a wet track. So, that's why she's 4-1 after 2 really poor-looking races. But I'm not so convinced Evening Edge isn't going to bounce back in this type of field.
Exactly, and the way Steve's barn's heating up, the way that filly ran for him yesterday, Princess Matoli, who had pretty cloudy form, and she was shot out of a cannon. I mean, if they had kept going, she won by 9, I think. She would have won by 20 if they kept going any farther.
Yeah, she ran a really good number too, as I remember.
On to race 8. There's minimal 7/8 of a mile experience here. However, there is one in here, Run Judy Run, that did win at 7 furlongs. Fillies, Claimers, 7,500. Non-winners of 2. Scratch, the 7, Maybelly.
Did you give in on Run Judy Run, or are you going to?
I am not taking her.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
I am not taking her. Heck,
that 50% means nothing to you.
Well, when I handicapped, I saw the number and underlined it.
Yeah.
I hadn't been burned yesterday yet.
It was only 49%, though, when you handicapped it. It wasn't 50
That's true.
This horse doesn't have to win. I'm making light of it. This horse, is my pick, though. Mainly because Cappellucci, with a huge sample of 40 claims, has won with 50% of them. I mean, as a handicapper, you're lucky to pick 33% winners. So, and this horse looks like the type that would repeat, right? He has a wide trip. He beats bottom-level maidens at this exact distance, pretty comfortably. Gets a nice rider switched, to only in the case that Cappellucci loves to win with Juarez aboard. So to me, there's just an awful lot to like with this horse. His buyer numbers, don't jump out at you at all compared to the rest of them. That's why he's 7-2, and not a shorter price than that. But it just looks like to me the stars are lined up for her to run the best race she's run so far, and she'll have to. But I think at 7/8 of a mile, I think she can do it.
She certainly could. I'm following in the Vic Stauffer don't bet maidens off a maiden win when they face winners philosophy. Her race was visually impressive. Like you mentioned, the fig wasn't great, but that was a bottom-level maiden claimer. I'm going to try and she's a 3-year-old taking on older. I'm going to try Contessa's Song, who dropped from 15,000 non-2 down to 7,500 non-2. Pretty substantial drop last time. Ran much better. Royal Liaison, the winner of that race, was even money, so she was expected to win. Contessa's Song had been, even though she had been bet, she's 1 for 15, so she's had a lot of chances, but she regularly competed against much better.
Mm-hmm.
She's got enough speed to stay up in it. I didn't realize Karen Jacks would go on a huge heater when I handicapped this, but she did win 3 yesterday.
Yes.
May not have anything to do with anything. But I'm going to give her a shot here over Tribe, who's really one that scares me. Tribe ran really well behind Perceptive, who won the race off by herself. But Tribe was well clear of everybody else at this level last time, going a mile, and now gets to turn back to 7/8. Ran a really nice second at this level of time before that. Comes from a solid barn. So I'm going Contessa's Song to Tribe.
I wonder if, we don't know, we won't know, but if Wethy chose Tribe over Contessa's Song.
That's an interesting
He's been
question.
riding both of them a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you don't know these things. I mean, Jack's had a chance to get Cabrera, but, so, I mean, it's not like.
But they're very close in the standings, though.
Yeah, they're the 1-2 riders in the standings.
Yeah.
It's a thing, if I'm betting real money, I want to know.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting thing to know.
Yeah, but anyway.
We got a video to show for the 9th. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying the filly that I'm picking in here is a little bit of a stretch, Wonder Wave. She's in the yellow, number 1, right on the inside here. Now, the trouble she's going to run into in this race is not going to cost her the race, I don't believe. And there was no inquiry, no objection. But Wonder Wave is in a race here with Sugarcoat, who is the morning line favorite. Sugarcoat is the number 7. She's right at the back of the picture there, right off of the hip of Wonder Wave. Now, let's roll it, and you will see Sugarcoat makes a pretty bold bid between horses. My filly in the white blinkers and the yellow on the you know what? I think we have picked it up after the incident. We picked it up after the incident, I believe. No, we haven't. Hold on. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Keep watching him. Sugarcoat's making the bid between. Wonder Wave is on the inside. Now, Wonder Wave's going to get shuffled back. Sugarcoat has just got too much run in her. She's got the white cap, the white sleeves. Wonder Wave is up in it, but she's up at the rail, and now she's going to get shuffled, and no foul here, but she just drops right out of the race. Sugarcoat goes on to run a close-up third in a 3-way driving finish. She's the one on the inside now, sticking her head in front, and my filly is way back there now. I mean, she's back there about 5 lengths off the lead on the inside in the white blinkers. The reason I show that is Wonder Wave, now here comes a really nice, look at this 4-way driving finish. Violet Kitten is going to end up winning it on the far outside, and Sugarcoat's going to wind up third. That's kind of a typical Sugarcoat race. Mm-hmm. Close second, close third, time after time. Runs nice races, usually favored, and Sugarcoat may go on and drown this field. By the way, it's a maiden field of fillies going 7.5 on the grass. Scratch the also eligibles. I'm picking Wonder Wave, who's an Irish filly, bred in Ireland from an Irish dam, a grandfather who was British. It's in her DNA to run on turf. She hates the dirt. I mean, I think it's fair to say she does not like the dirt. Maybe doesn't hate it. I think turf is her best surface. She's been crying out for a route of ground, not on dirt, but on turf. It's a stretch, but winning connections, I'm going to take her. And I see you're not taking Sugarcoat either, who's going to be a favorite and runs well every time, but doesn't quite win. This might be her day, but this might be a good race to pick against.
She's been beaten in 3 of her last 4 races at under even money, and 2 of them and almost even money in the. So she's better on turf, Sugarcoat, I think, than dirt. However, too many chances. It's like she lacks the willingness. She has the ability. She might lack the willingness. And my filly that I picked, Andrea Diane, was in that video we just saw, the one on the lead.
Oh, I should have pointed that out.
Yeah, that's okay. And for some reason, he let everyone inside of him. I'm not sure why. Usually you move over to the rail, make them circle you. But anyway, that was a terrific race, and I after watching the video, 2 3/4 lengths, I mean, he eased up on her the last 50 yards. It could have been better. I think he did the right thing. She has been on at Oaklawn and Prairie Meadows, so no chance for turf racing whatsoever. Alphalter tried to get her on turf in this last race with Sugar Coat and Wonder Wave, and it was washed off to the main track. Has a pretty good turf pedigree, has good early speed. That 1 mile race that we just saw should leg her up really well for this 7-1 furlong turf. We're warm. I think the turf course will be very fast today, and I'm hoping Andrea Diane will get to the front like she did in the dirt race, and this turf course might carry her the distance.
Yeah.
So, we're both on the same thought process that we got what we think is a vulnerable favorite, and, it could be, it looks like a good betting race to the two of us anyway.
Yeah. And she was able to get a nice established lead last time. There's a bit of speed in this race, but
there is.
If she runs that race back, I was probably negligent in not using her in my picks because you make a good case for her. Others to think about, Balmarea, number 1, debuted here. She was 20-1, but now she picks up Hiram Diego and stretches out from 5/8 to 2 turns. She ran like a filly that might like 2 turns. Her debut wasn't too bad. I mean, she was off bad. That happens sometimes. I like the fact Ashford's worked her since then. That was back a month ago. Actually, he's worked her a couple of times since then. She could run better today. Compendium, second time out for Asmussen. She tries the turf. She could run a little bit better. Yeah. She was a little slow out of there. There's a bunch in here that could run better today.
Yeah, be interesting to see how Finchers does, too. Todd's such a great horseman, and this horse is stake placed, on the main track, and we'll see. Never been on turf, but this is that type of race.
Senora Vittoria is that horse we're talking about, California bred, who's raced in some interesting places.
Right,
Golden
for sure.
Gate, Emerald, Pleasanton, Hastings, in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Los Al, Santa Anita. Competed well in some of those.
Mm-hmm.
Second in the Washington Oaks and Emerald. My comment for her, and she's been off since October, was let's see one. She could be this good.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
that's why I didn't pick her higher.
Yeah, but, and I didn't use her. But
good trainers can do great things with horses, especially at the maiden classification. So, we'll see. It's a really good race. That's a lot of really competitive races today. So
I have a good feeling about today's card. Thanks a lot for joining us for 28 minutes to post for the first. And good luck and happy Mother's Day once again.
In the event of an emergency, Lone Star Park is dedicated to ensuring the safety of our patrons. This video illustrates the proper evacuation protocol from all public locations in the Lone Star